my name's Brenda Longman, and if you haven't been aware of me as a stage actress in plays and musicals, you may have heard of me over the past 40 years as a member of Sooty's team. Now, Sooty the Bear first came onto our television screens in 1952 and is the longest running TV show ever. Along in 1957, Sweep the dog joined his chum Sooty, and the pair made a very fine duo indeed. Now, Amelia's asked me to talk about what it's like to have worked on the Sooty Show for the past 40 years. So, I've enlisted someone to help me. My very good friend and Sooty's girlfriend, Sue the Panda. Hello.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Now then, Brenda, may I just say that you're an extremely important member of our team, as without you, I wouldn't be able to express my very important opinions.
Yes.
Sooty has had 3 main presenters in his life, but you're now the person who's worked with him the longest, both on TV and on stage. Now, can I ask, have you always liked Sooty, Brenda?
Oh yes, of course I've always liked Sooty, but when I was a little girl, there were very few children's programmes on television, and Harry Corbett and Sooty was watched by everybody. Mums, dads, grannies, granddads, uncles and aunts, and in those days it was classed as family entertainment.
But you were only a little girl yourself when Sooty and Sweep were on. How did you get involved?
Well, I trained as a classical singer and an actress, and I actually met Matthew Corbett through the manager of our local repertory theatre, the Redgrave Theatre in Farnham. And I was doing a fundraiser in aid of the theatre, and I asked Sooty and Matthew to come and host it. And that was a fateful night, Sue, because he asked me that night whether I would be interested in auditioning for Sue the Panda.
That was way back in 1981, wasn't it?
It was.
Of course. I met Sooty and joined the show long before you, in 1964, when Matthew's mother, Marjorie Corbett, used to voice me.
That's quite right, Sue, yes. And that was when Harry Corbett was in charge of the show, of course, because he created it. But when his son Matthew took over in 1976, he felt that he needed a younger team around him.
What was it like to be part of an iconic show?
Well, the key words that spring to mind are joy, laughter, exhaustion, but above all fun.
Why exhaustion?
Well, exhaustion from laughing so much, and actually I mean that quite seriously. It was a serious business. Now, Sooty began at the BBC, didn't it, Sue? But when you came along, the Beat didn't approve of Sooty having a girlfriend. They thought sex had been introduced into the show, which was quite ridiculous. Anyway, the show was immediately snapped up by ITV and recorded at Thames TV Studios in Teddington. The series then was recorded a bit like a domestic sitcom in a suburban house, and I remember the days starting really early. And they were filmed over May, June and July, and that's actually traditionally continued. We'd rehearsed locally to Matthew's house in a church hall, and the series was recorded in fortnightly chunks. It was hard work and long days, but the excitement of being a Thames TV artist every day never palled, I can tell you.
What was required of you when working in a TV studio?
Oh, what was required? Well, I would sit on the studio floor amongst the 4 cameras with a microphone and a monitor so I could see the shots. And it was essential for me to get a good view of the scene that was taking place in front of me, just in case there were any ad-libs required to cover the puppet slip-ups. And I had to be close enough to the action so the puppeteers could hear the dialogue and they could in turn react. It must have been very strange for the guest artists that came on, because they would have a disembodied voice projected at them from across the set. I do remember Spike Milligan and actually, notably, Frank Bruno never quite getting the hang of it, and not getting used to it, would always turn to me and speak to me instead of you, Sue, wouldn't they? Yes. Anyway, sometimes we had fugitives from the other studios who'd visit artists, people from Rainbow or Tiswas, who would try and sabotage our filming just to try and make Matthew laugh. And I remember Morecambe and Wise were quite frequent visitors at Thames Television too. Now, on location, unusually, the sound was taken live, so that meant it wasn't unknown for me to be lying hidden in a ditch or facing backwards on a roller coaster or hanging out of a moving car, I remember, and then being in water with a killer whale. Most notably, once I was standing in the middle of a field facing the action one way and a goat butted me quite badly up the backside.
Was Matthew fun to work with?
Oh, of course he was fun to work with, Sue, you know that. I loved working with Matt, and we had a mutual respect, and because we shared a similar sense of the ridiculous, we had a kind of comedy shorthand. And he always treated me as an equal. Treated us both as equals, didn't he, Sue?
Yes, I suppose he did.
Yes, I suppose you did. You have to think about that one, didn't you? But when you think, he was a bit of a creative genius, wasn't he, really? Because, I mean, he wrote the scripts, he wrote all the songs, and he did all the puppeteering. And he always welcomed my input. He always made me feel like I was a valuable member of a creative team, which I like to think I was. And he always made sure I had a human guest appearance, didn't he, Sue? But whatever character I played, I always ended up getting covered in gunk. He loved it.
What surprised you when you started?
Oh, well, Sue, I just wasn't prepared for my first outside broadcast, and the number of crew outside and involved to film Sweep's legs going down Teddington High Street seemed utterly ludicrous to me. 37 people I counted, and most of them standing about. But actually, that's filming for you. And I learned in time that everybody does their bit and has their own part to play.
Why did we stop filming at Thames TV after 25 years?
Ah, well now, Sue. Regional commercial television, the companies are owned by a franchise, and sadly Thames TV Studios lost their franchise in 1992. And for a short time it looked as if Sooty, Sweep and Sue were going to be furloughed. But Granada TV in Manchester picked up the series, and very quickly we went up to Manchester, and the golden era of Sooty & Co. junk shop owners began.
I always felt this gave Matthew a new creative boost, didn't you?
Yeah, certainly did, Sue. And for me, it was the start of my appearing regularly as the dodgy character Mo from the Market. And this was Matthew. He was inspired by Vera Duckworth from Coronation Street. And I ended up wearing her old Granada TV cast-off wigs, I can tell you, until the makeup department decided I needed a more Dolly Parton image.
Why was this the golden era? Simply because, Sue, it was a financial one. The budgets at Granada were much bigger, and it wasn't unheard of us to take off for a location week, to film an episode in Spain or France, Scotland, or indeed notably Ireland. And here we are with the actor Miles Anderson. The plot line for the Irish episode was for Sooty to kiss the Blarney Stone and get the gift of the gab. Matthew had much more freedom to expand bizarre plot lines, with bungee jumping and mountain climbing and helicopters all involved. And he had carte blanche to invite whoever he wanted onto the show. We also had a fourth member of the puppet team in Little Cousin Scampy.
I was still the only one who talked there, wasn't I?
Yes, you were, Sue. And the weirdest scenes of all were when you were talking to Mo. That took a bit of editing skill, not to sound stilted. And this little film might need a bit of editing skill by Amelia. Anyway, Sooty & Co. made its successful mark at Granada and had the highest viewing figures of a children's series on TV. Surprisingly then, Matthew made the decision to retire at 50, and in 1998, after 6 Granada years, he introduced a new presenter called Richard Cadell. This photo is a picture of Matthew on his last day. We knew Richard from back in the Thames TV days, though, didn't we? He came on after he had won Young Magician of the Year.
Yes, we did know Richard, but I couldn't help feeling a little sad, as this was the year when Sooty was on a real high and won a British Comedy Award, the first ever for a children's programme. For me, it also meant the end of the comedy duo Mo and Matt, but that's show business.
And don't forget, Brenda, it is the Sooty Show.
Yeah, quite right, Sue. Richard was the very best person in the world to take over, as his enthusiasm and sheer love of Sooty and the gang, together with his skills and talent, made him the obvious choice.
So, out went the junk shop and we started up a new business called Sooty Heights, which was a rather badly run hotel.
Yes, but you and the boys did your best, and you had some help from your posh neighbour, Dotty.
That was only you in a different wig, wasn't it?
Richard carried on presenting the TV and stage shows, and Sooty Heights moved from Granada TV to Meridian. Now, the next few years were quite shaky ones for the future of Sooty, what with various companies using it as a financial football. At this point, with the advent of many more channels, new technology, and children's TV budgets being cut to the bone, it was a miracle the show survived.
But Richard saved the day, didn't he?
Yes, Sue. Richard saved the day as a clever entrepreneur. Richard Cadell managed to buy the stage and TV rights from Hit Entertainment on Christmas Day 2008, thus ensuring and preserving a whole new future for us. And we've carried on having fun making programmes with Richard at the brilliant theme park in Breen in Somerset, haven't we?
We certainly have.
Yeah. Oh, and we've helped thousands of children learn to read and do simple maths with our videos. With new technology, Sooty shows are now constantly available on mainstream TV and on YouTube and on ITVB. Oh, and that's not forgetting the stage shows, of course, where we're always keen for you to come up and say hello to us.
What are we doing next?
Well, of course, normally we would have been making some brand new episodes this year, but with COVID restrictions, filming's been moved to June 2021. And Richard Cadell is still planning to do Sooty the movie, which will be a massive project for us all. We're all really looking forward to that. And as I mentioned, the stage show will be coming to a town near you next year.
Anything else?
No, except to say that I consider myself hugely fortunate to be part of what is now a unique British institution, and it's been a privilege for me to talk to you about it today. So, it just leaves us in time-honoured fashion to say bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.